Blizzard. When the Malaysian dominoes are taking the piss out of you as well, you definitely know you've screwed up. But you know who didn't screw up? The Warcraft 3 Reforged team. They just scored themselves a home touchdown. Run. I don't know American sports very well. Hi everybody, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface. Didn't think you're going to see me on a Sunday, did ya? But yeah, all good things come to those who wait. So this is going to be my Warcraft 3 Reforged video. And I just want to start off by saying I'm not an RTS player. I'm not an RTS fan. The last RTS game that I played was Command & Conquer Red Alert, and I did love it. But as the genre of RTS developed, I kind of dropped out, and I'm not one of these people that like to do things like really quickly. I'm old, and I like to do things a little bit more methodically. And so I just sort of moved away from the RTS genre. So I never played the Warcraft games leading into World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft was my first Blizzard game. And it was the actual MMORPG element that attracted me to it. And so all the other stuff, all the lore from the previous games, I had to go online and look into that and discover about Arthas and how he became the Lich King and all this stuff. And it was interesting to do so, you know, delving into lore about specific well-written characters like Arthas was a fun time. But at Blizzcon this year, the Classic team announced that they are reforging Warcraft 3, and they are tweaking this game quite considerably. Now, just slightly on a tangent, I remember a while ago, maybe a year, maybe 2 years ago, there was some guy who started posting images of him revamping Warcraft 3. Am I correct? Or am I off on another planet here? And he was releasing videos and he was releasing imagery of what he tweaked and changed. And I can't remember what happened to this guy. Yeah, I could have done some research before this video, but I think it's best to talk about things organically without trying to be like, oh yes, and then he would have done that. And then he sort of like vanished, and I can't remember if he got ceased and desisted or if he ran out of funds to continue this, which slightly rings a bell. Or if Blizzard hired him. I don't know. Hired him and brought him into the fold. Excuse me. But I do recall that he produced some really cool Warcraft 3 stuff. And to now make this part relevant, when I saw that guy do that, I was thinking to myself, now, if they revamped Warcraft 3 to be, you know, a little bit more up-to-date, more up-to-date graphics, etc., voice acting, blah, 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 then I could be into this. I could be legitimately into this and maybe give it a shot. And then, whatever, time passed. Enter BlizzCon, the greatest BlizzCon there's ever been. And suddenly they announced this Warcraft 3 Reforged. And it really, really tweaked my interest. Now, I, of course, have been dealing a lot with the Diablo Immortal business and the Activision business. And so I didn't watch the panels for these live. I heard about the announcement. I saw some footage from it and I was intrigued. And then a couple of days ago, I actually sat down at this desk and watched the panel. And I can say, I'm so impressed with that panel. These guys that came up on stage gave me a renewed sense of faith that there are people within Blizzard who are legitimately stoked by the fires of passion and the desire to create something unbelievably cool. which I didn't get from things like the Diablo announcement and Immortal and stuff like that. This genuinely felt like a passion project for fans. This didn't feel like a cash grab. It didn't feel like something they were just going to cash in on. This legitimately felt like these people came from the right place, mentally and in their hearts as well. And I was just fascinated by the panel. The banter felt legitimate. It wasn't staged, or it didn't feel staged or written. These were people who were organically bantering back and forth about this and that. And they were even bantering about stuff which, let's just be honest, 3/4 probably haven't got a fucking clue about. Because they went into a bit of geek speak with each other. Oh, what about line da-da-da-da-da, or code da-da-da? And they're like, ha 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 ha. And I'm just sat there like, yeah, what? I got the fact that they were legitimately united as a team in the project. And this just turned me on to the project. Not, sexually. It just turned me on to, right, guys, you have my full attention now. You have my full focus. I see the genuineness about you. I see how enthusiastic you are about this project. I am totally clued into what you guys have got to say, and I want to hear what your philosophy is. So in terms of Warcraft 3, it isn't just going to be something as simple as an updated graphics to the game. Yeah, we're updating the graphics and it's the same thing. Warcraft 3 is going to change. Warcraft 3 Reforged is going to change certain aspects of the Warcraft 3 game. Now, this is where purists may start to get a little bit... but from my perspective, I actually think this is a very good idea. Warcraft 3 has been out for, 16, 17 years? Somewhere along those lines. And you can play the version that they released back then today in its entirety of how it was once produced. But I really like the idea that not only are they going to soup up the graphics, and they're essentially layering better graphics on top of what they've already had, not only are they going to tweak character balance, and the way that they've done that is they've actually spoken to competitive Warcraft 3 players and said, hey, why do you use this setup? Why do you use these units? Why aren't you using those units? Why aren't you using these units? And then responding to that feedback, which I think is awesome. And so they're like, right, based off that feedback, we're going to buff these, we're going to buff these, try and get them into the game as well. But more importantly, I think, and this might scare some people, they're going to retcon some of the lore. I think this is a really good idea. And the reason why I think this is a really good idea is because they see the sense, the common sense behind that. They have stressed that this isn't a simple HD remaster. This is a reworking of Warcraft 3. And so they're going to retcon some of the lore. They've got Christy Golden, who writes the books. She's going to rewrite the lore to come into line with the world of Warcraft. And this makes absolute sense to me. It makes perfect sense. So they're going to be tweaking some of the locations to look more like the locations from the Warcraft game. They're going to be tweaking characters. So certain characters which have moved on to become way more important in Warcraft lore, they're going to give them more spotlight. They're changing how the culling of Stratholme works, moving it to the place that we know on the live servers, introducing the cutscene that we get from the Caverns of Time, culling of Stratholme, one of my favourite dungeons of all time. Stratholme in itself, the whole tragedy surrounding Stratholme, it melts my heart. It's so tragic. And I love everything to do with it. I love the Stratholme dungeon. I love the culling of Stratholme. I love this is the this is the beginning of the end for Arthas. This is the true beginning of the end for Arthas and the tragedy of the Arthas Menethil storyline. And it just, So to have these things, that I think they're describing it as parity, but essentially they're just it is coming into line. And I love it. I love this idea that they're building this Warcraft 3 Reforged to exist completely and logically alongside the World of Warcraft game. And that made me purchase it immediately. I mean, when I knew that they'd done this, I was just like, I'm going to buy this. But when I watched the panel, I was just like, man, have I made the right decision here? Have I absolutely made the right decision here to pre-purchase this and to support this? And I think I did a video, my last video is don't buy Fallout 76. Because ultimately, don't reward a game studio for poor work. Don't do it. No matter how much you love the franchise, no matter how much you may love the previous games, don't support a company that releases a game that they know is substandard, subpar, broken, and expect to be well paid for it. Don't do that. Flip reverse for me on this one. Flip reverse. When you see what they're doing, when you see the passion, when you see the direction of where they want to go, I'm okay to say, right, I'm pre-purchasing this. I'm pre-purchasing this because I want to show support for these projects. Because I think the Classic team, they can do wondrous things. They did it with the StarCraft remastered. Now with the Warcraft 3. Who knows where it can go? Orcs versus Humans? Warcraft 2? Diablo 2? Who knows where their attentions could go to? But this is a team, for me, in Blizzard, that is just... everything about them screams right. Every angle, position they come from screams, this is right. And I haven't felt that about people at Blizzard for a long, long time. And what really tipped me over the edge was a line. I might be slightly paraphrasing this. I've written it down, but I might be slightly paraphrasing this. And when they said this, I nearly cried. Legit, I nearly cried when they said this line. Because I've been so disillusioned with Blizzard for so long now, especially with World of Warcraft. And then you saw this nonsense at BlizzCon with essentially abandoning their core player base. Not caring about their core player base. Anyway, there are plenty of videos. Go watch them. But they said this. It's your game. We built it. But it's your game. To me, that is just insanely powerful. Insanely powerful. This is the right attitude of a company. How many times do we hear about WoW with, well, it's our game. It's our game. You're playing it, but it's our game. And this is how it should be. It's your game. We made it, but it's for you. Just unreal. So in closing, this is a ray of sunshine in a storm right now. This is the perfect attitude from people who look like they are not just on your side and understand you, but are so passionate about the product that they're involved with. It's not just a reworking of graphics. It's a complete tweak and change, but still without losing what the original Warcraft 3 offered. And I think it's going to make the perfect supporting character to the World of Warcraft game. And if I play this simply once to enjoy the lore and the story and how it fits in with WoW, to me, that is money well spent. Because I'm sure I'll absolutely love it, even as a non-RTS fan. And if you're not on the fence, if you are on the fence about this, then jump off. Jump off, crack open that credit card, support the right people and the right product. So there you go. They're my thoughts and feelings about the Warcraft 3 Reforged panel. I hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, do get a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. Follow me on social media and Twitch for live streaming. Links, they're in the description box down below. And I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care. Bye for now.